We're very delighted to have the Aahvaan Project with us this evening. A lot of their work is based on the Nirguna philosophy of love and on Sufi saints like Kabir, Lalon and Lalon Fakir. What is interesting to IFA and the reason why we're excited to present their work is because they draw a lot of inspiration from oral traditions. They dive very deeply into archival collections as well as working very closely with communities. They will share their journey, they will share their explorations as they share some of the music with us this evening. So happy to introduce Vedi, Sinha and Sumant Balakrishnan of the Aahvaan Project. A few house rules: please switch off your cell phones. We don't want to disrupt the performance with phones ringing. No videography and please no flash photography. So without further ado, the Aahvaan Project.
हम आम तौर पे कहानियाँ लेकर घूमते हैं, कहानियों से जिनसे हम मिलते हैं, जिनसे हम बात कर पाते हैं। तो कल जब हम यहाँ आए और हमने थोड़ी बहुत बात शुरू की, हमें समझ आया कि यहाँ तो इतनी सारी कहानियाँ हैं, very little for us to say. And so we decided that today we'll share the story of Aahvaan, how it began, where it is, and where we hope to go. As a little girl, I was a big believer. And what I mean by that is, I needed something to hold on to. So in a highly academic family, I was somebody looking for something that made me feel right. So then built a conflict. सोच और सामाजिक समझ। सोच ये कि सवाल करना ज़रूरी है, बात करना ज़रूरी है, समझना ज़रूरी है, पर सामाजिक समझ ये कि मैं एक औरत के शरीर में जन्मी हूँ, तो मैं एक अच्छी लड़की, एक अच्छी औरत, एक अच्छी इंसान बनना चाहती थी। और उस अच्छे का पीछा करते करते कई बार मुंह के बल गिर पड़ी, दांत टूटे, खून निकला, मिट्टी पोंछी तो समझ आया कि अच्छा बुरा धारणाएं बनाई गई हैं। Like our histories are being changed today, they always have been. The conversations we hear, the history we read is from the point of view of somebody who was in power. And we all know our gender, as powerful as it has been, wasn't the one writing it. So when I began my journey with these big, beautiful ideas that we'd read about in school, in our history books, in our political science books, in our sociology books, in our literature books, of love, equality, harmony. And then I got out, stepped out, fell. It felt like I was lost. It felt like all of these ideas were just ideas. That somebody as a child gave me wings, told me to explore, and then as I stepped into adulthood, asked me to clip my wings and settle in a box. And in this journey, suddenly all the love, all the beauty went aside, and I started feeling alone, lost, looking for a guide, but not knowing where. तो जब मैं निकली, मेरी यात्रा कबीर के निर्गुण के साथ हुई। और क्योंकि कबीर का निर्गुण था, तो मुझे बताया गया कि किताबों से दूर लोगों के बीच पाना पड़ेगा। मैं यात्रा पे निकली। As we all know, these are all oral traditions. They pass through generations. Knowledge, wisdom, suggestions, carrying on for years and years. And so as I started, I experienced all of those stories, all of that wisdom. But as I needed to take a step further, I realized that there was something lacking. I hope we can change it. You know what I realized much later is that Nirguna is not an idea that's really shiny or on a pedestal. You know, Nirguna is really just love. In action, in every day. But apart from that, in a more practical setup, a lot of the oral traditions remain with the soul. And some just translate as words. Why? Because our world doesn't relate to them anymore. Context. And for oral traditions, often we don't have enough context. And even when we do have context, the search for it is tedious. I see so many of my friends and myself Googling across, just looking for something, finding it sometimes, not finding it sometimes. We've become lazy. But also it's really hard to access, no? And so as we moved forward, I realized all of these things where while we were trying to do so much, there were so many other layers that we need to learn about, educate ourselves about, and that journey will keep going on. But these things don't run alone. They run parallelly with the mad, mad world we exist in. So as a believer, as a child who really wanted to hold on to the ideas of good and bad, my heart broke. I sat in a corner and sulked for days. I wondered why the world is like this. But I also looked at myself with great pity. I wondered why it was happening to me, forgetting to see that it was all of us doing it to each other actively. It's simple, no, the idea of love. Whether his mic is a little more audible than mine, it starts from there. Whether what I said was heard, it starts from there. And so I sat in my corner and sulked away for many, many days. But then one day, somehow, I was looking at myself and just in the mirror telling myself, oh, my life is really sad. Oh no, what is happening? Oh, artist, paise, ye, wo, ghar, baar. And in that moment, suddenly, I had to laugh at myself because there's nothing else to do. I have today. It's a morning, I'll have the whole day, and maybe tomorrow, but today I have. But I'm wasting that today. And I don't mean to be productive. I hate the idea of productivity these days. But that one day, if I go out and meet Bala, I play some music with him, discuss something with him, it already teaches me so much. And so in that moment, I realized that every now and then I need to remind myself not to sit in a corner and sulk and sort of push myself to learn a little more, because if I extend my hand, there are all these beautiful people who can help me. And so began a journey called Hai Bichari. बिचारी बिचारी का मतलब होता है जो एकदम हेल्पलेस है, एकदम परेशान है, जैसे कभी कभी मैं खुद को देखा करती थी. But I also realized that if I keep finding people like you, people like him, Maybe I don't have to feel like that. But as I moved further, I found all these beautiful people. I found new ways to learn I never knew existed. And slowly I started finding my own wings again. And yet every now and then it felt like I came back to the same idea. While things are very different, and yet the same, I know that with all these people around me, with me, I can move forward remembering all the love that created me. There was also hate. I'm still learning to create boundaries, believe it or not. And yet, that love is something that I can still hold on to. Why? Because that love comes in different forms. Sometimes it's just a kind smile. Sometimes it's help with research that I really don't know how to do. Sometimes it's help and resource, sometimes it's help just by being there. But while I still hold on to the same ideas, I think the structures that I believed in broke. Sometimes my friends and family think I'm a little bit stupid. And I think I am. But heck, I'm stupid enough to love. And I'll continue to do so.
कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए, जीवन का चक्का दिया जलाए, आँख मूंद सब कान के चादर अपना सपना भाए, अरे बस अपना सपना भाए, कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए। जिगमा तन ने सान के मिट्टी कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए, जीवन का चक्का दिया जलाए, आँख मूंद सब कान के चादर अपना सपना भाए, हरी बस अपना सपना भाए, कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए। हंसी खिलौना कौर बता बता से बचपन माही गोद, आई जवानी हुआ सयाना चला मैं सब घर छोड़, आई जवानी हुआ सयाना चला मैं सब घर छोड़, क्यों कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए, जीवन का चक्का दिया जलाए, आँख मूंद सब कान के चादर अपना सपना भाए, हरी बस अपना सपना भाए, कि मन का चक्का दिया जलाए। खेत जोत कर करे मजूरी, रात न दे बोर, खेत जोत कि मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए आँख मूंद सब कान के चादर अपना सपना भाया नहीं बस अपना सपना भाए के मन का चक्का दिया चलाए अरे सबा दियो तन मन लाड लडुली अपनी पीड़े संग लड सब भूली क्यों कि मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए आँख मूंद सब कान के चादर अपना सपना भाए हरी बस अपना सपना भाए के मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए कि मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए कि मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए कि मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए मन का चक्का दिया चलाए जीवन का चक्का दिया चलाए
And so, well, I felt like it was so difficult in this crazy, crazy world to find a little bit of respite. In people, I found it. The same people that we fight with, can't communicate with. Suddenly I realized they're also people. It's so stupid to say no. Of course they're people. But somehow I'd forgotten. But I realized that as I spoke to more people one-on-one, it felt like I could fall in love with everyone. And I'm not joking. I could learn from everyone. And suddenly I realized the idea of Sadguru. You all have heard about Sadguru. Sat-Guru. The Guru that leads the way, shows us the path. Who's the Sadguru? I couldn't find one. But I found a Guru in everyone. I realized that if I am falling in love with everyone, I can learn so much from everyone, even if we just exchanged a smile. But then I started looking for the idea of Sadguru, and again sort of getting troubled in my own space, because somehow somebody could lead the way and tell me that I'm right or wrong. You know, maybe not tell me that you have to go to this path or this path, but just sort of nod and smile when you're on the right one. But on my journey, you know what I realized? That Sadguru lies within. Again with the hyper fancy terms, no. Who's making all the decisions for me? I am. Who's deciding what to take and what to leave behind? And when I have so many gurus, and if I can open up to my core, to my Sadguru, what am I worried about? What am I holding on to? होना, चलते चलते पहिए का लड़खड़ाना और टूट जाना, या फिर मटका कुएं से निकालने के लिए सिल का रगड़ा जाना, बसंत आने से पहले बसंत आने के लिए पत्तों का मुरझाना और झड़ जाना। जग बतियाए सके जग समझाए सके तो चले, प्रेम पथ जग कतराए सके जाने दे,
जाने दे।
चल सके पथ पर आले रथ चलवे कहें द्वेष तू, प्रेम टल सके जाने दे,
जाने
When I started on this journey, people told me to love. And I wanted to love. But then they started defining what love would mean. You know, there are a lot of communities that sing these Nirguna ideas. But the context has stopped being relevant. And I don't mean communities traditionally. Urban communities. Urban communities where we're not supposed to sing because we make Kabir political. It's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. क्योंकि अगर कबीर यहाँ होते तो शायद सड़क पे होते, सड़क पे होते, नंगे होते, आवाज़ उठा रहे होते। वो उनका प्यार था। क्योंकि अम्मा जब प्यार करती हैं तो हमेशा गोदी में लिए नहीं रहती, कभी कभी कान खींचती हैं, घर से बाहर निकाल देती हैं, और फिर जब हम सीधे हो जाते हैं तो फिर से हमारे साथ हो जाती हैं। As I looked for more of these words, I realized that somehow it's been kept on a pedestal, a shelf. And it's like that shelf in our house, no, which never gets touched. On a Sunday, if we want to clean it also, we'll take one kapda and we'll just do a little bit dusting. We won't pick it up. Why? Because काम बढ़ जाएगा. Once you open it, then you have to clean everything, no? Ideas of humanity, ideas of Nirgun that was spoken years ago during Bhakti movement. Ideas of equality, of love have been kept on a shelf. That shelf that only sometimes is cleaned by someone. Sometimes I don't even feel like cleaning it, so please stop. But those ideas are very relevant today. And who better will know than this beautiful crowd? These people who are working on ground, these change makers. You know how hard it is. When we meet in these events, we're all smiles. We're exchanging the beautiful part of our work. But there's also so much struggle. ये हम आर्टिस्ट की प्रॉब्लम है. We are so all about the performance. You know, we can't tell you what's today because we were practicing. And we knew we'll miss it. But I don't want to. I feel like somehow these two worlds communicate, they meet, but these two worlds don't coexist. And so, taking inspiration from this world, slowly I started speaking my truth. Started realizing that love was also about pulling that ear and not just holding your hand. one struggle that we always had and still have is bringing together the understanding of linguistic relevance along with the context, cultural context of it. Very recently, Sohail Hashmi sir taught us something very, very important. So we keep using this word Brahmand. And while in the context of Nirguna, it's something that's talking about the whole of this world, what we didn't really look at, and that's where we lack, is that the connotation of it came from an idea of Brahma. And today in our culture, that same Brahma is seen as so many different things. And so what words to use? What words to keep? What to change? Much like what compositions to keep and what compositions to change with the changing time is something that we struggle with all the time. Much like people who are working on field, like all of you good people, we artists also don't have much money. So it's very difficult to create a script, find somebody to do your research, because I just said I'm just the worst person to research. In fact, my sister, who will hopefully see you all soon, will stand by it and tell you that a lot of times she's like, Vedi, what are you doing? What have you written? The research to what we are doing today is so important. Because we neither understand that context when it was written, nor do we understand what it holds in today's context. The world has changed, but the idea of Nirguna I see everybody relating to. More young people than maybe old. Why? Because the idea is really simple. The idea is love. But somehow it becomes so difficult to talk about the simple things, and it became difficult for us too. I saw my sister's journey, who's a researcher. She works on gender violence. Every place she's ever worked she's faced gender violence. We're living in 2022, we're going on to 23. We talk about all these woke ideas of these structures, breaking the structures, creating new structures. The honest truth is those boxes that were different back then have only changed in the way they look. Same gender, same caste, same class, same divides, just wearing a different attire. They look more posh. And so as I saw her journey, and I struggled with what to call this cosmos that you're talking about, especially when you're writing a song. You have to find those small words that make so much sense. Small words don't carry context unless we go looking for the context. And so came my great, great disagreement with this world. My fight with this world. With this universe that created these human beings who are not very honest, not very loving. We love to be loved, but we don't like to love. And so came Dekh Vidhata. Another thing that I was told as I stepped out was the idea of strength. I'm sure a lot of you have heard it also. How can you be crying? You're so strong. Why are you looking weak? You're breaking structures. It's like the society is on an ego war with all of us, no? If I want to talk about my truth, if I want to be honest, if I want love to exist more than the hate that's being talked about, then I'll be challenged. Challenged in different ways, but the most easy ways, अरे तुम तो feminist हो, तुमने lipstick क्यों लगाई हुई है? You believe in all these ideas, why are you doing this? You believe in such big things, you're the change maker. Why do you look so weak? Why do you look crooked? Are you tired? What happened? बुखार हो गया? इंसान है, शरीर है, मन है, थक जाता है. So when I got really angry with answering all these many thousand questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing, where, how, I stopped answering. And I'm sorry for the language I'll use just now, but if you listen closely to Kabir, there's a song, a bhajan that he has written or sung called Nirguna. It talks about a lot of different layers of human beings, but you know what the last line is? It's fuck you. Sorry. I'm sorry, I don't care about what you're saying about me, what you think about me. Do as you may. And I'll go on doing what I need to. If Kabir could say it, I guess so can we. in the spirit of speaking our own truth. A little while ago, Delhi saw pogrom. और मैंने ना सिर्फ हिस्ट्री में ही सुना था, मैंने इस किस्म की नफ़रत, इस किस्म की द्वेष, ये कुंठा मैंने सिर्फ किताबों में पढ़ी थी. And you know how we keep talking about one people, one species. That little girl that was hopeful and wanted to hold on to these beautiful ideas, she fails to understand how all these various experiences fail to teach us even today. How all these experiences also, like Kabir, have been put on a shelf. We've forgotten our history as a people. We'll learn about it in classes, much like Kabir. We talk about it, sometimes a lot, a little too much. In work spaces, big ideas are discussed, they're talked about in ways that are so entertaining and so... It's almost like we're trying to make up for lack of action in our words. As a species, we haven't known to stop, take a breath, let alone looking at the path we've taken and wondering if it was in fact the path we should have taken. If we can't stop and breathe, then how will we decide whether we should have taken maybe the left that we didn't take? But we'll never take that left. And sometimes environmentally, socially, politically, it feels like we're stuck. There are so many webs. When we open up one issue, 1,000 smaller issues come up. Where do you start? And where do you end? And so, when the pogrom happened in Delhi, and it was named so many names, much like so many other events in the country, I got angry. A guru that has been with me in my life for a long time got troubled. They called me, they were like, why are you so angry? You follow love. But my love is threatened. My truth is threatened. And so I am angry. I'm so angry I can start crying now. I'm angry with the people that we are. Constantly two-faced. मुझे आदत है ऐसे बैठने की, लेकिन मैं बाकी सबके सामने पैर नीचे करके सब इस इंसान की तरह बैठ जाती हूँ. ये आर्ट का, सभ्यता का जो पैमाना हमने तय किया है, is that not a caste system? Some of it is accessible. Most of it isn't. हम कहते हैं हम प्यार करते हैं, लेकिन हम एक दूसरे को एक दूसरे से कितना अलग रखते हैं. जानते हैं, लालोन फकीर को लिटरेचर में अब जाके पढ़ना शुरू किया गया है, क्योंकि वो अपनी विजडम को किताबों में लिख नहीं रहे थे. वो अपने प्रेम को सुना रहे थे, लोगों के पास पहुंचा रहे थे. आज हम लालोन फकीर की तरह चल नहीं सकते. You know what happens when a woman goes around talking Nirguna? Two things. Either I'm supposed to wear the attire of somebody who's supposed to be on a pedestal, or I fall from the eyes immediately. हम यहाँ हैं, कल हम कहीं और होंगे. हम इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, लेकिन औरत की अवधारणा हम बदल नहीं सके. समाज में कास्ट की बात ज़रूर करते हैं, लेकिन इस कास्ट को अपनी एवरीडे में पेनिट्रेट होने से रोक नहीं सकते. You know what love is? Love is just kindness. Every day. And maybe that's why it's so difficult. Because it's so simple. If only we were in touch with the core that we call Sadguru. In our gut we know. In our gut we know what's right and what's wrong. And with our last song, the only thing that we want to share with all this sadness, with all this stress of the everyday, of rent, of work, how does the work get done, field pe kaise hoga? The only thing that keeps us going is meeting all of you. Which is why we were so sad and sorry, truly, truly sorry to have missed today's session and really waiting for tomorrow. This is where we learn. This is where we get our knowledge, but also this is where we get our hope. When we see all of you, when we exchange these smiles, it feels like this big hug. This hug that carries us through. This hug that we need as much as you, as much as the third person, in order to keep moving forward together. And so, hoping that we can take that flight together, and alone sometimes. Hoping that we can create the change that we all have set out to, even though it's really slow. Hoping to move forward together as one family, finally, as one people. all our mistakes, we are sorry. And we are thankful for just being here with all of you. Thankful that we get to hear, to learn, and hope that we get to learn some more. Thank you.